Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life you absolutely love. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy is out today, so we're going to visit with a man from the Pateros area who is part of a really cool community called Tatley Outpost. Tatley Outpost is a veteran-operated farm and ranch creating a global impact through a community approach. In other words, they're all about being a blessing. And I define blessing as the lifting up or elevating of another person or group. And if you're a blessing, it would result in another person feeling empowered or feeling that their load or burden had been lightened. They would feel noticed. They would feel cared for. You know, it's so easy to focus on what's not going right in our world. It's easy to hear the news and believe that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. If we only focus on what's broken or not working, it can get pretty darn discouraging, which is why I love to run across people who are doing something positive in the world. When I meet people who are contributing to their community and making a difference, I feel good, I feel inspired, I feel better. It gives me hope, which is why I want you to meet them too. So in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk with David Overcash from the Tatley Outpost in Pateros. We'll find out how they're creating global impact through a community approach. What does that mean? What does it look like? So stick around. We'll be right back after this short break. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We are talking today with David Overcash here to my right, and we're talking about the Tatley Outpost, which is located in Pateros, Washington, right?
That's correct.
All right, so the Tatley Outpost, give us a nutshell version of what that is.
Yeah, so at the core of Tatley Outpost, it is an orchard on a large 1,600 acre ranch.
1,600 acres?
1,600
Wow.
acres, yeah. And so we've built everything around the orchards, but from there we have dozens of different crops in greenhouses and storage containers, as well as pigs, chickens, turkeys. And it's really an entire ecosystem of what a farm and ranch looked like for hundreds of years in this country.
Cool, so I love that. It's a complete ecosystem.
Correct.
Cool, so tell me about who'd you guys build this for?
This is built to help veterans.
Veterans.
From the ground up, that is in the DNA of everything we're doing.
Got it. So veterans of any of the past?
Any of the past.
Okay, all right, got it.
Yeah, part of the variety of what we're doing is to give different learning, education, as well as business opportunities. So that variety is very important to attract veterans of all generations.
Got it. And so tell me about the farming. How does that come? I mean, do people come here, they live there and participate in the actual farming?
Yeah, so we did a lot of research going into this, but what we've done is we'll pull in veterans and we can give them real jobs on a for-profit farming and orchard business.
Oh, okay, so they're getting paid for the work they're doing?
They're getting paid.
Got it.
Now what we have, and that's at the core, what we have around that then is a veteran can come in and say they want to learn how to farm and start their own farm. So given the amount of acreage we have, we would give them a plot of land, an acre or two.
Interesting.
And they can incubate their farm on our property. And what we found around the country is there's hundreds of programs like this to help veterans incubate in farming. The problem is they're very isolated. What we've done is you can go incubate your farm and you can supplement your income by working on the main orchard and farm.
Oh, okay.
So usually the way it works is what we've seen now is we get a veteran in that will work our farming operations for a year. They get an idea of what they like, and then the following growing season, we help them incubate their farm.
Got it.
And then we would supplement their income, and then now we have, going into year 3, we have several veterans that will only help us during harvest, and the rest of the season, they're running their own farms and helping one another.
Right on. I love that. I love the helping one another part too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's unique. I totally missed that part of, I didn't realize that they each got a plot of land for their own if they wanted to work. That's really neat.
Yeah.
So, so tell me, how long has this been going on in Pateros?
So this started after the wildfires in 2015.
Okay.
So the property had been in the family since the 70s. And it was kind of a small farming operation, but just really enjoying the land. And we lost everything in those wildfires.
I remember that.
And we really sat down with the family and decided what we wanted to do to rebuild. And my father-in-law in particular, was really important to him, legacy and enjoying the beauty of the land. And in order to keep that around in the family and to really preserve that, we also wanted to take the opportunity to build something more significant. So this was born out of that rebirth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like the image comes of the phoenix, right?
It was actually, we named this Project Phoenix.
Oh, right on.
In the early days, it's kind of a code name.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
And literally speaking, right? I mean, very literally, just like burnt down and rebuilding it from the ashes and creating something powerful and that gives back, right?
Right. And there was that interesting correlation with veterans that literally I remember the spring after the fires and being up on the hillsides and looking down in the valley. And it was more colorful than it had ever been.
Oh, really?
Because of all the low-lying wildflowers that can now blossom because of all the high vegetation was burned.
Yeah.
And it was a rebirth.
Yeah.
And when you think of what our veterans, especially our combat veterans, coming back into civilization is a rebirth for them. So there is a lot of that analogy that's the core of what we talk about.
Right. So, so tell me, how do veterans find out about this? How do you get the word out, in other words?
Yeah, so we've worked very closely with the state and the VA. The head of the state, VA, Alfie Romas, has been out to the property a few times. We are working with both Okanagan, Douglas, and Chelan counties with their VA representatives that are helping the VA in the field. So they all know about us.
Got it.
So as they have folks that come into their desk, then they put them in touch with us.
Okay.
But we're also in touch with probably well over 100 nonprofit veteran organizations that we're kind of sharing resources, if you will. There's a organization on the west side that has a small operation, and they have honey and other things, and their folks come over to our property. We bring folks to their facility. So, it's
cool.
a lot of grassroots.
Well, the way I found out about it, this is funny, because one of our daughters came home from school and they were collecting pennies and coins for Tatley Outpost. And I was like, what's Tatley Outpost? Because she was like, hey, can we get into your coin jar and take all your coins? And I was like, well, tell me a little bit about this. And so then I looked you guys up online. I was like, whoa, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Was it modeled after a particular other endeavor like this that you're creating, or how did you get to come up with the idea?
I'd say a combination of a bunch of different endeavors, but I think nothing that looked at it quite like this. And so I actually, it's a little bit of a side story I won't dive into, but had the opportunity of having a couple years where I was taking a sabbatical. And did a lot of research in the community and how could I give back? What could I do to make a bigger difference?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I saw, there's some statistics here to put out here, is there's tens of thousands of veteran nonprofits across the U.S. I think all but like 5 of them are less than 25 people.
Wow.
So a lot of small nonprofits trying to make a difference, right? I also talked about that how many veterans are getting government funding, other VA programs to start farms, but they're all very small and they're very isolated. So thinking of all those different models and what put together is we wanted to support the veterans so they weren't trying to start by themselves.
Got it.
The other thing that we were seeing as we talked to these other individuals is the expenses of renting tractors or buying tractors or other heavy equipment. Well, our core business, it's an orchard, we have all that equipment. And there's 70% of the year that equipment sits there.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And so now why should you, if you're incubating your farm or what you're trying to do, why should you have to go out and do that? We just share it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really embraced that community aspect that I think is a throwback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and things that we get into really great dialogues of why in our communities, whether it be Chelan, Wenatchee, Seattle, right? Why do we have our own sheds full of tools that sit there all the time?
Right.
So we've taken some of those concepts and said, how do we do more of that?
Mm-hmm.
Sharing for the greater good.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's taken a lot of those different ideas together. I will say it's a much longer journey, though, that we have to go on, because you have to see 5 years out.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are unable to do that, to see the benefits.
So can you elaborate on that? What is the 5-year vision? What do you see in 5 years for Tatley Outpost?
Yeah. So we want to have dozens of homes, dozens of startup businesses on the property, right? And we want to be helping exponentially more people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say we definitely want to be helping veterans, but we see it as a community thing.
Got it.
Right? So bringing in new farming techniques with technology, or bringing some old school farming techniques back. How do we share that with the community? And
when you say dozens of homes, because you guys are actually building tiny homes.
Tiny
right?
homes, yeah. We put our first tiny homes in this fall.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, how'd they turn out?
They turned out great.
All right.
Yeah, it was a very grassroots effort. You know, we had donations all across the country, and the guys worked really, really hard. Had electricians come in and donate their time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was exciting.
So how has the response been as far as like donating, goods and services, and what's been the response of the VA when they catch hold of this vision and come out and see it?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the response with the VA that I continue to get is nobody else is looking at the problem this holistically. It goes back to they have so many programs that are looking at just individual things that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to encapsulate the whole of what that community means.
Got it.
The rest of the community, and what I'm finding, and I think this is actually happening in our larger society, is I think the era of just writing checks for the greater good needs to go away. And I think we really need to look at things of how do we give back personally? Mm-hmm. And I think we're starting to see a trend where people want to invest in something, and how do I bring my family and my kids, and how do I teach them about community service, not just writing that check. The thing with that I say it's a longer term vision, that takes more effort on everybody's part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But it is worth it when we look to what this is going to be 5 and 10 years
right.
out.
So it's which is why it's so important that you get the word out, so people can catch the vision, because people have to have an emotional connection before they come out and serve.
Yes.
Right? So we got to get that story out, which is partly why you're here today.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
and hopefully everything with the other folks that you talk to here just inspire people that we can make a difference.
Right.
We can dream bigger and make that happen.
I love that. Yeah, I'm all. Now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
Well, hey, David, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in just a minute. Stay with us. We're going to have more conversation with David about the Tatley Outpost in Pateros, Washington. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We're here with David Overcash. He is one of the founders of the Tatley Outpost in Pateros, Washington. It's an organization designed to make an impact for veterans, to really empower them and create and facilitate healing, which is what I want to ask you about right now. Is tell me a little bit of what you mean when in your mission statement it says to bring or to help bring healing to these people.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of studies in the past few years. So you have Seattle Pacific University, Seattle University, U of W, of this concept of dirt therapy. And there's actually some neurological type studies that are being done that getting your hands dirty is healing to the human body.
Really?
Yeah, so very, very early stage. And with this then, we see that taking combat veterans and getting them out in nature, that in itself is very healing. The other aspect of healing that we're trying to do with veterans is, imagine this, that you were broken down in basic training in the military, and you had to be that way so you could survive to protect our country.
Sure.
Now you come back, and if the vast majority of jobs that you look at are cubicle jobs, they're 9 to 5, set breaks, that is not the military lifestyle, right? So that is very difficult when you're having to deal with certain symptoms in your day-to-day life, right? So now we take the farm and ranching lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if one of our veterans gets up and they're having a bad day, they go on a hike. The mowing of the orchard, the pruning of the orchard, the tending to our tomatoes and basil, they can wait a couple hours, right? It could wait till tomorrow.
Got it.
Right? If you're having a bad day and you want to go on the back property and scream your lungs out, right? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the normal corporate job.
No, you certainly can't.
So the healing aspect that we're looking to is really pulling nature into that as part of the healing process. And I'll know, spending my career in the corporate world before this initiative, that truly, and we've all seen the health self-healing books where get out, take a hike, go fishing, go kayaking,
get connected with nature, right?
Yeah. That works for me.
Yeah.
Right? That works for everybody, no matter what your job is. So we're adding more and more programs now. Well, we'll do overnight hikes.
Okay.
Right, on the property, very, very therapeutic. We have some of our veterans that have been certified, right, in different programs to be having those fire pit round tables, healing out there. And I will tell you for myself, it changes your perspective of the world.
Oh man, who doesn't love sitting around a fire, right? And
Yeah.
talking and kind of sharing and connecting.
Yeah, all the little
great.
problems of I missed a traffic light,
Yeah.
it seemed to kind of go away.
Yeah, I love that. I love that philosophy of just allowing people to connect with nature when they're having a bad day and getting out there, and that's so powerful. And you also, to dovetail into that, you also provide like day adventures for public people, right? I mean, the public can come and do something.
Yeah, so in 2019, we experimented with some of those programs. And then in the off season now over the winter, we're looking to how we push those further ahead in 2020. And I say that was really trying to get a sense of the calendar, because to do some of these events requires planning.
Absolutely.
So we needed to really get a sense of what were our harvests looking like, when were some of the right weekends to put these things together, winter seasonal things, and how we can wrap around that. And then we've been looking at some local partners, right? What are some interesting angles that they could participate and partake in that? But that's actually definitely where we want to go, is everything that we're learning about helping veterans is going to help everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that brings me to my next question is, if people are hearing this and they want to get involved, how do they? Are there opportunities for people to come out and get involved and work on this ranch?
Yeah. So one of the best places that will continue to evolve is with our website, tatley.outpost.com.
And spell that for us there, Tatley.
Is TatleyOutpost.com.
Tatley.outpost.com.
Correct. And so what we're looking to organize is some work parties, right? And so we have some of the local VFWs that have helped organize that. So we can, add a greenhouse for a new veteran that's looking to start his farm. We have some projects where we're working with an organization called the Veterans Conservation Corps, where they can help bring new plants and beautify some of the land, so we can get some training and organize work parties for that. We love the idea. We haven't had anybody take us up yet, but how about a corporation sponsoring one of our tiny homes for our veterans?
Yeah, great idea.
Right? To live into.
Yeah.
Have your employees out on a regular basis to see what's going on.
That is such a great idea, yeah. Because everyone can get behind that, right?
Exactly.
Because they can see something built from the ground up and take pride in that, and and feel connected to it.
Yeah.
I love that, yeah.
So again, and additional, we've been talking about some harvest festivals, which is kind of learning and educational. It's really fascinating to me, spending more and more time into our local community, that our area is not just about apples and cherries and pears. We can grow pretty much anything we want.
Yeah.
And I think some of that has been lost in the last couple decades. So how can we bring some of our schools out to the property, right? Let's learn about lettuce and basil and tomatoes, and how can you have this ecosystem of rotating your animals through your row crops, and what does that look like? I've actually found by going to some of the schools that those elements of the ag programs have been lost in the last couple decades. And I think we really need to bring that back to our community and create involvement there as well.
Yeah, great opportunity for our young people to see that.
Exactly.
Tell me, how long do you envision that a veteran would stay on the property?
Yeah, so probably about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So we're definitely open for longer term.
That seems like a long time. I mean, that seems like an opportunity to really get some things figured out and learn some things and make a difference. And wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I think what we see is year one is giving veterans all sorts of opportunities, right? And we've had veterans out and they got what they needed and they moved on, and that's fine. Now we can help year two incubate a business. Right? Year three, let's make sure that business is really rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Right? And then the concept of the word outpost, if we think back to how we grew America, is we had outpost. Right? So let's take what we're learning here on this large facility, and if we can train up veterans correctly, that they'll go to another community and they'll help build out this same ecosystem.
Right.
And we've given them all the tools to do this.
So you want this to be a repeatable opportunity, right?
Very much so.
For people who catch the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I love that. So we only have another minute and a half left, but do you have a success story that you could share about somebody one of the veterans that came and had a positive experience there?
You know, there are today lots of little stories, but I think those are the ones that matter. The ones that hit me the most, I think, are from the wives.
Oh, okay. They see the change.
They see the change. We have 2 of our veterans on site now that 2 years is the longest they have been in any location since they got out of the military.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And the longest job they've held down since getting out of the military. Right? And to hear the stories and see the tears in these wives, right? The anxiety, and I can't do it justice to explain what these men and women are going through. But to hear the wives say they're just different. They deal with things better, right? They're on a different path. And now these veterans are helping other veterans. They're in a better position to help and pay it forward.
Wow.
I get choked up thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I get that, yeah. Well, I want to acknowledge you and your whole team for the work that you're doing and for creating this vision and manifesting it. You know, it's really significant. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's great to be able to tell this story, and like-minded people coming together, we can make an impact in this world.
Yeah, well, my family and I will definitely be out there to check it out and to lend a hand, and we look forward to that opportunity. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We're going to wrap things up here, and you know what to do now. It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.